everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amanda, and in today's video I'm going to be talking all about my experience of being a hairdresser, some of the reasons why I quit hairdressing, and just some tips and tricks for if you're getting into the industry or if you are in the industry. It just gives you a little bit of an insight as to what it can be like to be a hairdresser. So if you're interested in learning more about that, then just keep watching because we're just going to get into it. But before we do, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we get into it, I just wanted to note, I am obsessed with my makeup today, and I just wanted to show it to you guys because I think it's so cool. I got it off of some inspiration from Pinterest. I've been seeing it around Instagram as well, but it reminds me of Twiggy in the 60s and just kind of that vibe. So if you guys want me to do a video about how I got this look, then you can just thumbs up the video and let me know, or leave me a comment down below. So anyways, I just wanted to focus on that for a second because I'm just obsessed with this look. So let me know if you are too. So first off, I want to kind of get into the history of why I started hairdressing, a little bit of a backstory and things like that. So ever since I was young, I really enjoyed hair and makeup. I was really artistic and I liked illustrations, and so it kind of led me down to the path of thinking I would be pursuing that in some way in my future. And I remember doing hair for my friends when I was 13 and 14. I would always want to curl their hair, style their hair for dances, and I just got interested in cutting people's hair as well. So I experimented a bit on myself. It was not too crazy. But I always found it to be really interesting, and I knew that I wanted to pursue it. So I finished high school, and then when I was 18, right after high school, I decided to go to cosmetology school, and I went to a school in Mission, BC, and it's called Riverside College. So I'm going to link it down below for you guys. And the reason why I chose this school was because it was a lot cheaper than some of the schools offered in Vancouver. I know there's a couple places, if you're local or around from here, you'll know what I'm talking about, but Blanche McDonald was, I think, almost 20 grand, and I just thought it's not that it's not worth 20 grand, but I just don't think that you need to pay that much in order to get the proper education for hairdressing. So this is a way better option. It was cheaper if you registered for the program before 19 as well. So I don't know if that's still the case to this day, but I'll link their website down below so you can check it out. You can call them, you can get information. But yeah, that's basically where I went to school. And now I kind of want to talk about a little bit, about my experience in hair school and what was expected of me and stuff like that. So let's jump into that. So I really enjoyed hair school. There weren't many times where I felt it was super difficult for me or where I was struggling. I had some practical tests where I was actually cutting people's hair, and then I would have tests in the classroom that were more based on my hair knowledge and a little bit of science behind hair and things like that. But I never felt I was struggling, or never felt oh, I'm not going to pass this course. I can't speak for anyone else that was in my class, but I never felt I struggled. It was stressful, don't get me wrong, and because it was the first time I was actually professionally cutting hair, all the things that I thought I knew about hair, basically I had to throw out the window because I knew that the ways that I was cutting hair, or thinking of cutting hair and coloring hair, were incorrect. So I kind of had to put that aside and just know that I'm going to be learning a lot, and I have to be willing to change my way of thinking. So throughout the school year, I had to do 2 practicums, and actually ended up doing both of them at Chatters in Abbotsford, mainly because I had my first practicum there, and the manager at the time really liked me. He thought I had really good work ethics. He noticed that I was always working on my mannequin. I love updos, and I still do to this day, so I would always do updos every single day I was there for my practicum on my mannequin. I cleaned the salon. I would help with customers in the front. I think he just respected my professionalism, and he could see that even though I was young, that I was willing to work hard, and I wanted to make a really good impression because this was the first place that I'd ever work in this kind of hair industry. So he hired me shortly after my practicum ended. I think I had my first one. The school year starts from September and goes to June, just like you would in like high school or grade school. And my first practicum I think was in October or November. And then my second practicum was later in the spring. So after my first practicum, actually right before my first practicum ended, Chatters was having a hair show in the mall, and because they're connected to a mall. And so I actually got to style a model for that, and it was really fun, and it was just so cool. It was such a fun feeling to feel like I was kind of part of their little family. So after that, I got the go-ahead from my boss that I was hired, and I was just so excited. And so for my second practicum, I got paid, which was really great because for my first practicum I didn't. And typically if you weren't hired in a salon while you were in hair school, you weren't paid for your practicums. So I thought I was kind of at advantage a little bit compared to my other classmates because I had the experience and I was still on practicum. So, you know, there were some times where I was still like sweeping the floors and not necessarily working on clients, but I had work there, so I would be able to get clients like regular walk-ins or requests or family members and cut their hair. So I think that really gave me a lot of experience while I was in hair school. It made me feel so much more confident. It made me feel like very relieved because I had a place of work after I was done hairdressing. I think hairdressing school, like that was the big part of me at the very beginning of this. I thought, what if I don't get a job after this? Like I worked so hard, I put all this effort into it and I don't get anywhere. So that was just like an answer to my prayers right away because I got the job shortly after I started hair school. So that was amazing. But my experience for my practicums were really great. Everyone at my work made me feel so comfortable. They seemed to really like me, at least I think, I hope so. But they were really positive and very helpful. They let me watch as well as they cut other clients' hair, and it was just overall a really great experience. So with that being said, even though I had a lot of positives, there are some negatives that I definitely experienced. Not necessarily in hair school, but just in the industry of being a hairdresser or hairstylist. So I'm going to move more into that now. So of course I was talking a lot about the positive things with hairdressing, but there are also some negative things that come with hairdressing. So I want to talk about like the reason why I kind of quit working in a salon, and I'll talk more about like if I still do hairstyling in my spare time in a little bit, but I just want to talk about mainly the reasons why I quit, or some of the reasons why I just decided like this isn't for me for the long run. So the main like number one reason why I quit is because, so here's the thing. I've always wanted to have a career where I help people. Like I would consider myself to be very caring and kind, and I always think of other people first before myself. So I wanted to have a profession where I could, I could kind of create that happiness for other people or try to make people happy. That's what kind of I'm all about. I always have been ever since I was younger. So I realized from at the very beginning, I realized that people are obsessed with themselves, okay? And let me just explain this a little bit, because I don't have a problem with people taking pride in how they look and how they want to, what they want to achieve, like from their haircut or whatever, say. But at the end of the day, it is just a haircut. It is just hair color. It's not the end of the world. You're not gonna die if you don't get the right shade, if the cut is slightly off, if you had miscommunications because it was your own fault or your stylist's fault with miscommunication. But at the end of the day, like you will survive, okay? Like some people were really terrible people. Like they literally just cared about themselves. So I had a really hard time, especially towards the end when I kind of thought like, I think I'm gonna quit, but I wasn't totally sure yet. Didn't have 100% that guarantee that I would quit. And every time I get a client that proved that to me, like that they literally just care about themselves. They don't care about you. They don't want to care. They don't care about treating you with respect. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care how long it takes. They don't care if you're running late. They don't care if you're stressed. Like, it's literally just about them. And I understand that when you work in a service industry, that it is about the client and it's not about you. But that's to a certain extent. I do not want to be in a profession where I feel like I am disrespected all the time. And I'm not saying that that's the case for all hairdressers. I'm just saying particularly in this scenario, that was my experience. A lot of customers treated me with disrespect. They noticed that I was young, so they thought I was stupid. They thought I was uneducated, like all these perceptions. And it really just wasn't fair to me because here I am, like a young girl. I was like 19 years old when I started. And I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was working with so many professionals who had like 5, 10, 15 years on their belt of hairdressing. So it was really intimidating, and to just have so many clients be just like bags to you it's really discouraging. So my whole perception of like wanting to help people kind of slid down the drain. No pun intended, but it is kind of a pun. Because I just realized that if I'm going to be helping people, I don't think I can do it in the cosmetic way or like in the hair industry, because I think that you, like I said, should take pride in yourself and be proud of like how you look, and you want to feel good, feel confident, but there's also like that inside part of you that should matter so much more than the outer appearance of anyone. So I never felt like I had very genuine relationships, and unfortunately the good clients didn't outweigh the bad clients, so in my situation, so I just really couldn't take it. That's the main reason. That was a really big rant, but that's like the main reason I stopped hairdressing. Some of the other ones aren't as bad, but it still what made me think of like, okay, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I had a lot of back pain, and I also had wrist pain, so I only worked in Chatters for like maybe not even 2 years, and I already started having like carpal tunnel syndrome on my wrist, and so that's just like weakness in the wrist, and you can have a lot of problems. You actually can need surgery for it, and my hairdressing teacher actually told us about that, and she had surgery on her wrist. So the fact that I was already experiencing that, like not even 2 years into my career, I was really concerned. I have dinky, like baby wrists too, so I don't know if that makes a difference, but I was noticing a lot of pain in my wrists already, so I was concerned, and a lot of back pain. You're standing in one place on a mat, and it's not always super padded, for about 8 to 12 hours a day. And you're doing this motion where you've got your hands up because you're blow drying and you're flat ironing, and you're always in this position. So my shoulders would just feel like crunched all the time. Like even after a shift, I just felt like my shoulders were up here, and I had a lot of back problems. And I just kind of thought, like, if I'm already experiencing this from a young age, what's it going to be like in 10, 20 years? Like, am I going to be, I don't know, like, it's not like I'd be crippled, but I have a lot of back problems already. So to go into an industry where, like, I know that it's only going to get worse in my body, I don't really want to do that to my body. I also thought, like, you get long hours, so there were times where I'd work 12 hours, and if you are a hairdresser, you have experience working in the hair industry, you'll know that you don't always get your lunch breaks, or you don't always get a lunch break at all. Or you're just scarfing down your food really fast. So I know that that's kind of just a reality of being a hairdresser, but I still don't think it's right. And like, it upset my diet, and like, I don't know, it wasn't a great experience. It wasn't what I was used to, because I worked in retail before and I always had a lunch break. So it was a bit of a change for me. I also had like some inadequate scheduling just for like what was allowed for each client. Like usually it was half an hour for a men's cut, which was fine, but then it was usually only 45 minutes for a woman's cut, and I always felt like that wasn't enough time. And I actually have a story, just a quick story, that I want to talk to you about as to why I feel like it's inadequate scheduling. I don't know why I can't say that. So I just want to move on to that really quick. So just to add in a quick story to kind of tie in why I kind of thought that the scheduling for clients may have been incorrect. I had this one client, she was just a walk-in and she was late. When I say late, she was about 15 to 20 minutes late. So when you're supposed to have a haircut done in 45 minutes and your client is late almost half the amount of time allotted to cut their hair, then that's a really big problem and it automatically puts stress on the stylist. So she came in about 15 or 20 minutes late. She, no joke, had hair down to the floor. Also, I want to mention that her hair was disgusting. I'm so sorry, but it was so dirty. Like, I don't know if she didn't wash her hair. I feel like she didn't wash her hair for 5 months and she just put like a ton of oil in her hair. I don't know. I didn't even want to touch her hair, but she wanted me to cut, to style, to wash, to cut, to style, like blow dry. And she had thick, long hair to the ground, okay? Like the longest hair I've seen. And I had 45 minutes to do it. So that's kind of like just a short example for how that might be an issue when like clients don't always give you the respect, don't show up on time, or show up late, don't show up at all. Yeah, you can't really allow like a certain amount of just one specific time for a client because everybody's hair is different. If they have super thick hair, you know, like whether you're cutting their hair or you're coloring their hair, it's going to take longer. You're going to need more product. You're going to need more time. Like all those things play into factor and you don't really know that until you sit down with them and you have a consultation or they sit in your chair. So that's kind of the main reasons why I quit. Overall, I had a really good experience and I had such a good experience at Chatters. So if you are just graduating hair school within the next year or you are new to the industry and haven't found a job yet, Chatters always was really good to me, and I got to do a lot of cool things. I got to do the fashion show, like I said at the very beginning when I was still doing my practicum training. I also got to go to Red Deer for a Redken event, which was in 2015, maybe 2016. So that was really fun. I got a ton of products. I got a lot of knowledge. It was basically like a 3 or 4 day workshop. And you just get to meet a lot of cool people who have the same passions as you. And the only thing I had to do to qualify to go for the trip for free was to do a makeover on someone. And I ended up doing that on my sister. So overall, really positive experience at my salon that I got to be hired at Chatters. And as for now, like how do I incorporate hairdressing in my life now? I basically just do friends and family's hair. I don't do really any coloring other than root touch-ups. And I do haircuts. I'll do men's, kids, women's, everyone's, you know. But mainly just family, or if I have friends that I like, then they know that I cut their hair, or they know that I cut hair, sorry, then I will cut their hair for them. But it's a very small amount of people, and I just like to do it on the side for some extra money. I still love the whole idea of hairdressing. I just don't think I see myself working in a salon for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's about it for this video. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this, just learning a little bit about hairdressing. It gives you a very realistic perspective if you're going in the industry or you've thought about it, or if you're in high school and you're thinking of going into hairdressing. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea to be a hairdresser. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you the realistic view of kind of what you will experience if you decide to go into the industry. So there are goods, there are some bads. You kind of have to just be the one to decide if it's worth it, if you're willing to kind of stick it out. And yeah, so that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please, like I said, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out so much. And like I said, if you want to see a tutorial on how I got this makeup look, then just thumbs up the video or leave me a comment. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you in my next one. Okay, bye!